with thanks to our patrons.
Hey folks, JD and Max here, and today we've come to Piercefield House again, but this time to have a look at it through a different perspective, through our obedient puppy, the quadcopter in the sky. So we're not going to run down the history. We have done a few videos on this, going into the house and having a little look in the tunnels underneath as well. If you haven't seen them and you'd like to, you'll find them in the description. With that, my friends, let's have a little look.
Piercefield House, sat on the once Piercefield estate, is now a vision of faded majesty. It was once the pride of the 18th century neoclassical architecture and admired by the likes of William Wordsworth and Samuel Coleridge. Its symmetrical frontage still commands attention, even in ruin. Tall, fluted columns rise like sentinels, framing the central portico where carriages once arrived bearing guests in silk and velvet. The stonework weathered and centuries of wind, rain and flora, yet even in decay the house exudes a kind of solemn dignity, a monument to ambition, wealth and the passage of eras. You can almost hear the lavish banquets, whispered intrigues and the quiet footsteps of servants moving behind the scenes. Rising above the skeletal remains of Piercefield's roof, chimneys standing defiantly against the sky, like the last watchmen of a forgotten age. Their brickwork is chipped, moss and budlea covered, but they remain upright, stubborn relics of warmth and domestic life. Below, the absence of ceiling and the roof reveals the hollowed-out shell of the house, its rooms exposed to the elements. From poring over old floor plans of the house and other neoclassical grand estates of Sir John Soane and Valentine Morris's architecture, I have drawn my own floor plan based on what I have found. The rooms may have been carved up as follows. This floor plan serves as a valuable illustration of the potential design possibilities, albeit with certain limitations. Based on the work of Sir John Soane and Valentine Morris, this layout appears to be the most probable. However, the absence of publicly accessible floor plans hinders our ability to make definitive conclusions. The placement of the kitchen was informed by the well-documented accounts that indicated that most hot or warm food served in the Victorian-era mansions would eventually become cold due to the significant distance between the kitchen and the dining rooms. Rain has etched intricate patterns into the plaster, heralding nature's gradual reclaiming. Birds have settled in the spaces where rafters once supported grand chandeliers, and the wind carries a melancholic tune through voids that once reverberated with joyous laughter and musical melodies. The chimneys, silhouetted against the azure sky, appear to mourn the departed hearths they once served. Each one a silent sentinel of centuries of warmth, discourse and solitude. From above, Piercefield's layout unfolds like a spectral blueprint etched into the earth. The top-down perspective unveils the essence of the estate, corridors, chambers and grand halls, now bathed in a celestial light. The symmetry of the design is discernible, the central hall flanked by wings, the progression of rooms suggesting a life governed by order and ceremony. The drawing rooms, where guests once convened for tea and discourse, and the servants' quarters discreetly concealed in the rear. Nature has softened the geometry, grass encroaches upon marble thresholds, and saplings sprout in spaces where furniture once stood. Nevertheless, the structure remains legible, akin to a memory that refuses to fade. It serves as a map of lives once lived, of footsteps and routines, now preserved in ruins. The West Pavilion of Piercefield House stands as a solemn sentinel to a bygone era. Originally part of a grand neoclassical vision, this structure was designed by John Bonamy the Elder in the late 18th century. It was commissioned by Colonel Mark Wood to flank the central block with symmetrical grace. Although time has eroded its ornate interiors and the curving colonnades that once connected it to the heart of the estate, the West Pavilion retains a hauntingly beautiful appearance. its weathered facade, adorned with ivy and marks of erosion, evokes the Georgian ambition and aristocratic grandeur of its time. The Doric portico, once a welcoming space for guests, has crumbled, yet the essence of the building still lingers with elegance. This Grade 2 listed ruin extends beyond mere stone and silence. It represents a fragment of a forgotten narrative. It is a place where architectural artistry intersected with romantic decay, and where the echoes of Piercefield's past resonate in the stillness. As we traverse its perimeter, we discern the outlines of vanished rooms and envisioned the lives that once thrived within. The West Pavilion is not merely a ruin, it is a relic of vision, a testament to the passage of time and a cornerstone of Piercefield's enduring allure. On the eastern flank of Piercefield's ruined grandeur, the East Pavilion stands as a mirror to its western twin, exhibiting symmetrical design yet harbouring its own quiet mystery. Conceived by Joseph Bonamy the Elder in the late 18th century, this neoclassical structure was an integral part of Colonel Mark Wood's vision to transform Piercefield into a stately Georgian masterpiece. Although now in a state of disrepair, the East Pavilion once exuded refinement. Its facade, still adorned with the classic detailing, overlooks the estate with a solemn grace. This curving colonnades that once connected it to the central block have vanished, and the Doric portico that once welcomed guests has succumbed to the ravages of time. Nevertheless, its structural essence remains elegant, enduring, and evocative. Designated as a Grade 2 listed building, the East Pavilion transcends its status and mere architectural debris. It represents a fragment of a forgotten estate, a relic of symmetry and splendour. As we traverse its perimeter, we perceive the equilibrium it once imparted to Piercefield's layout, a harmony now fractured yet palpable in the cadence of stone and shadow. This eastern ruin, akin to its western counterpart, serves as a testament to the estate's multifaceted history. Together they frame the central block akin to bookends of a lost narrative, each whispering of wealth, vision, and the inevitable passage of time. Separated from the grand facade of Piercefield House lie the remnants of a once bustling heart of the estate, the stable block. Built in the early 19th century, these outbuildings were more than mere shelter for horses. They were the pulse of Piercefield's daily rhythm, where hooves struck stone in the morning mist and grooms whispered to restless stallions beneath the slate-tiled eaves. The sandstone rubble walls, now weathered and fractured, once echoed with clatter of carriage wheels and the soft murmur of stable hands preparing for journeys through the valley. The barns stand like a sentinel in Gothic arches, still proud, though hollowed by time. Slit vents pierce the stone like forgotten breaths. Nearby, the byre clings to its red brick arches, elliptically headed and facing the yard where hay once lay thick and warm. Inside you will see ruins, and you'll be able to see ghosts of utilities, once used, now forgotten. Window frames from overgrown gardens beyond like fading portraits. These stables, though ruinous, hold a quiet majesty. They speak not of grandeur, but of grit, of the lives that sustained the estate from behind the scenes. Together with the walled garden and the coach house, they form a forgotten constellation of service and care. Their decay is not defeat, but testament, a reminder that even in ruin there is a story, even in silence there is memory.